Yesterday, I went to the police station. The cops called me to inquire about a recent horrifying incident. Accidentally, I got involved in this without causing any harm to anyone. It all started last week. I met a guy named Patrick on Omegle. After a couple of interactions, we became quite comfortable. Patrick sent me a friend request on Facebook. I accepted immediately. After talking online for a week, we finally decided to go on a date. He shared with me the address of a local pub. We had a nice time together. I got a bit drunk, but Patrick safely dropped me home. Patrick was an average height guy. He was caring. Within a few days, he started to give me signals that he likes me more than a friend. But as I just met him and also wasn't looking for a relationship then, I decided to confront him before things got out of hand. One evening, I was sitting in my bedroom and video calling Patrick. After sharing a laugh or two, I told Patrick that he is a really good friend and I would like to keep things slow between us. So far, I never saw Patrick become angry. I mean, he's that kind of guy who is used to smiling all the time. But as I told him this, I saw his expression change. He suddenly became very upset and disconnected the call without saying a single word. 3 days went by, but Patrick didn't call or text me. I called him many times, but he never picked up. It was a Thursday evening. I was coming home from the gym. I was walking down the sidewalk. The streets were empty and dark. Suddenly, my eyes went to the left side of the road. There was a street lamp on the left. I saw a man standing behind the street lamp. At first, I got a bit spooked, but as the man came to me, I heaved a sigh of relief. It was none other than Patrick. Patrick came and stood in front of me. His face seemed very different this time. There were dark circles around his eyes. He looked sick to me. I said in a surprising voice, "Patrick, what happened to you? Are you all right?" Patrick smiled in a fake way and said, I am sorry I couldn't get back to you. I was, down with a fever." I said in a hesitant voice, "Why didn't you call me then? I would have come to see you." Patrick smiled again and said, "Can I walk you home?" I nodded my head and we started walking together. For the first few seconds, none of us talked. Suddenly, Patrick said, "Why don't you like me, Jenny? I have always been nice to you." I said in a calm voice, "I do like you, Patrick. It's just, I'm not looking for a relationship right now. Please try to understand. I think we will be better off friends." Patrick again became quiet. I had no intention to be rude to him, but the way he was behaving, I had to be straightforward. We were almost near my house. All this time, I didn't care much, but suddenly, a question came to mind. I never shared my gym address or schedule with Patrick. I stopped and asked him, "How did you know where to find me?" Patrick smiled and said, "Remember the cafe where we met last time?" I said, "Yeah." Patrick replied, "When you went to the washroom, I casually checked your phone. There I saw your weekly calendars and found out about this gym thing." I was stunned to see his audacity. Not only did he say all these creepy things in a calm voice, but also took pride in it. Finally, I lost my mind. I said in a loud voice, "I never thought you were a creep, Patrick. You better stay the hell away from me." I walked away. I didn't bother to look back at Patrick. That night, I received many calls and texts from him, but chose to ignore him completely. A few more days went by. One morning, I was sitting on the house porch and drinking coffee when a delivery guy came. He handed me a big package and left. As I opened the package, my stomach dropped. My skin started to crawl. There was a jar filled with a thick reddish liquid. As I opened the lid of the jar, a salty, reeking smell filled my nose. I was feeling like throwing up at that moment. Suddenly, my phone rang, and it was Patrick. I picked up the phone with furious anger. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I screamed. Patrick laughed as if nothing happened, then said, "Don't worry, Jeannie. It's just pig's blood, not mine. I would be dead if I had to send that amount of blood to you." I was out of my mind. Is he trying to threaten me now? I said, "Listen, you freak, don't you dare try to threaten me. Cowards like you can only make fake threats, that's all." I disconnected the phone and blocked him from everywhere. That night, around 1 a.m., I received a call from my friend Tina. As I picked up, Tina said in a panicked voice, "Jenny, do you know a guy named Patrick?" I never shared about Patrick with any of my close friends. I almost got up in a rush and said, "Yes, I met him in Omegle. But how do you know about him? I never told anyone about him. Tina took a small pause and said, "There's a video that has gone viral. People are now sharing it. It's a screen recording of a video call from an Omegle chat. I think you should look at it at once." I replied, "But why? What happened?" Tina cut the call, and within a few seconds, she sent me a video. As I opened the video, I saw it was indeed a screen recording of an Omegle video chat. Patrick was sitting on the other side of the screen. The man or woman who recorded this obviously had no idea what was going to happen next. In the next 2 to 3 minutes, Patrick talked normally. I could hear his voice clearly. Then he said suddenly, "Thank you for recording my message. I hope it reaches Jenny." Don't know what the other person said, but Patrick smiled. He then again said, "Jenny, if you find this video, I want to prove to you how much you actually mean to me. This is why I'm going to commit suicide in love camera." Oh my God, this guy is crazy. I never expected Patrick would go insane over such a small issue. He took a sharp knife and placed it on his neck. He then looked at the camera for one last time. His eyes were so vivid that it felt like he was looking right into my eyes. He then said in a spine-chilling, calm voice, "I love you, and I am no coward, Jenny." In front of a live chat, Patrick sliced his own throat. Blood came gushing out of his cut throat. He started to choke on his own blood, making horrible sounds. The video went viral like wildfire. The cops had to intervene in this matter and called me to give a statement about this entire situation. They managed to trace our call logs and messages. The text made things very clear that I never gave any wrong signal to Patrick. It is not my fault that the poor guy took his life. My parents came from Florida and now stay with me. But no matter how much they console me saying it wasn't my fault, deep down inside, I still feel calling him cowardly that day triggered the suicidal tendencies in him. I can't sleep. I can't eat. I'm so scared to meet people. What do you think? Am I really the reason for Patrick's death? Hi, my name is Christy. I am currently in high school, but recently, I am going to a psychiatrist. Even a week earlier, I was a happy-go-lucky teenager. I had so many friends, but now I find it difficult to trust all of them. Something happened 2 days back that has turned my world upside down. I am sure you are all familiar with the online chatting website, Omegle. One of my friends introduced me to this website. This website seemed quite easy than other chatting platforms because there's no need for registration in Omegle. This huge library of remaining anonyms makes the website an easy way to talk to strangers. Many of my friends told me that people often lie in chats about their age, gender, but that didn't bother me much. One day, coming from school, I was feeling really bored, so I decided to chat on Omegle. I opened my laptop and started to chat with random strangers. That night, I talked to 3 different people, and it was fun. I saw there is an option for video chat as well, but I wanted to know this website better before going for a random video call with a stranger. What started out as a one-night entertainment soon became an addiction. Whenever I got time, I used to chat with people. Last Saturday, I was home alone. My parents went to dinner. I was chatting with a guy named Turner. Things were going good when, suddenly, my Wi-Fi lost connection and the chat got disconnected. I got up and fixed it, but once the chat disconnected, it's hard to find the same person in Omegle without proper contact. I refreshed the page and again requested a new chat. The page showed me, "You are now connected with stranger M19. And then the stranger sent me, "Hey." I also replied, "Hi, how are you?" After exchanging basic courtesies, I asked, "So, are you a male or a female?" The stranger replied, "I am a 40-year-old mother." I liked her honest reply. I also told her that I am a girl currently studying in high school. You might be surprised, but the more I talked with this woman, the more mysterious her text started to become. I thought to disconnect the chat once, but the way she talked, I couldn't. She told me, "I am a pretty girl." I felt happy with her generous behavior. She then asked me if I have a secret that my parents don't know about. Though I felt odd like a stupid moron, I told her that I am dating a much older guy and my parents don't know about him yet. She supported me, saying, "Love can happen anytime and at any moment." Getting such a mental assurance from an adult kind of melted me. I failed to realize how she was luring me into her trap with her sweet words. She suddenly asked me, how well do I connect with my mom, which felt really weird, but I answered, like every other teenager. She then said she had to go and put her baby to sleep, but told me to be on the chat. I stupidly waited because, at that point, I had no idea what was going to happen next. I waited for 5 to 7 minutes. Just when I thought she isn't coming back anymore, I started to receive a video chat request from her. So far, I never accepted the video chat of any stranger. But this time, don't know why I did. As we got connected, I saw a woman in her late 40s sitting in front of the camera. She waved at me and said, "Hi, Christy. Nice to meet you." I smiled too. We started to talk. She was sitting in her living room because I could see the kitchen area right behind her. There was no striking feature on her face except her nose was sharp and pointy. There were dark circles under her eyes too. I asked her, "So, how many people are in your family?" She smiled and replied, "Oh, it's just me and my husband." I said in a hesitant voice, "And your baby?" She laughed awkwardly and said, "Yes, my baby too. Our son Matt is so little that we often forget to count him," and kept laughing. Honestly, the joke wasn't funny at all. I asked her how old is her son. She replied 8 months. I said, "Aw, that's so cute." I looked at my phone and saw it was 9 p.m. already. I looked at her and said, "Samantha, I have to go now. It was nice talking to you." She suddenly stopped smiling and kept staring at my face. Her eyes turned big and she wasn't moving an inch. At first, I thought the screen got stuck. I said, "Samantha, are you there?" She suddenly smiled really big and said, "Yes? What were you saying?" I felt really weird this time. I said, I have to go now, so I was..." Samantha interrupted me saying, "I feel so horrible. I miss my son," and started to cry, hiding her face in her palms. I wasn't able to understand what she was saying. I replied, "What? What are you saying, Samantha?" She looked at me with tearful eyes and said, My baby, he died 2 years back. Trust me, I wasn't at all ready for this shocking news." I said, "Oh my God, what happened?" She stopped crying and again kept staring at me with an expressionless face. There was something really horrible in her lifeless stare. I was feeling freaked out at this point. She then got really close to the camera and said, "I can show you what happened to him." I said in a shaking voice, "What are you saying? How can you show me that?" But before I could ask her more details, she got up and walked to the kitchen. As soon as she reached near the oven, she looked at me once and said, "Close your eyes. I have a surprise for you." She then made a very creepy laugh. She kneeled in front of the oven and opened it. I saw clouds of black smoke coming out from the oven. I got so scared thinking, is she gonna burn down the house or what? She wore a microwave glove and took out a tray from the oven. Something was lying on the tray, and I could see it was burnt. She then started to walk close to the camera while holding the tray in her hand. As soon as she reached near me, my heart dropped into my stomach. The hair at the back of my neck stood up. I saw a baby lying on the tray with a melted face and burnt clothes. I screamed, "Oh my God, what did you do to your baby?" Samantha laughed and said, "No, you don't need to worry. This is not my baby. This is just a small doll, Christy." She then started to laugh. I was speechless. I had no idea what the hell was going on. She was laughing hysterically. I screamed saying, "You are one sick woman. Why did you put the doll in the microwave?" She said, "Oh my dear innocent Christy, I just recreated my son's murder for you. It was a lot more fun when I microwaved Matt. He made me paranoid by crying 24/7. I had no other way but to get rid of him. I couldn't take it anymore." I immediately disconnected the chat and ended up sobbing on the floor. After my parents came home, they found me unconscious, lying on the floor. I told everything to my father. He went to the cops yesterday. The cops are now looking for a woman who has murdered her own son. I can't talk to strangers or chat with anyone anymore. This one incident has traumatized me for life now. I saw a baby lying on the tray with a melted face and burnt clothes. I hope the cops follow up on this matter and help me by finding closure soon. I will not be able to sleep until I get to the bottom of this incident. I used to chat with strangers on Omegle a lot. Blame it on my failed relationships or the feeling of being lonely in a crowd. Chatting on Omegle was my way out. But they say, too much of something is not good. One evening, I was sitting in my room. Heavy rain and a thunderstorm were going on outside. I was waiting for Omegle to connect me with a stranger. It was taking more time than usual. I went to get myself a glass of water in the kitchen. When I came back to my room, I noticed I had been connected to a stranger, and that person sent me, "Hey there." I replied, "Hi, how are you?" But without replying directly, the person started to request a video call. I have talked to strangers on video call many times, so it didn't bother me much. I immediately accepted the video call. As the screen lit up, I saw a young, beautiful girl sitting in front of me. I was shocked to see her because I didn't expect her to call me without leading the conversation ahead for a while. Anyways, I sat down and said, "Hi, I'm David, and you are?" I lied about my name because I wanted to keep my real name hidden. She smiled mysteriously and said, "I am Trinka. Tell me, David, how old are you?" I replied, "I am 28. She said in a low voice, "Perfect." I don't know why she said it, but I didn't react either. Being honest, I was kind of blown away by her beauty, and at the time, I was single too. We started to talk about regular stuff like what she does, and she asked me what I did for a living. While I talked to her, I noticed her room. Her room looked very different. Wind chimes were hanging from the ceiling, and the wall was decorated with Gothic paintings and dark art. I realized she had a passion for all of this. I asked her, "Do you like this Gothic stuff?" She replied, "Do you believe in life after death?" I wasn't expecting the conversation to take such a turn. As she asked me this question, I saw her eyes sparkling mysteriously. I replied, "When you die, you die. That's all, Trinka." Trinka smirked at me and said, "Where do you stay?" I told her the street name, but not the full address. She started to laugh like a child. I said with surprised eyes, "What happened? What's so funny about my address?" She said, "It will take 10 minutes to meet me, David. I am in that street area now." I got shocked and said, "Really?" Trinka nodded her head and then said, "You know there's going to be a late night party at my house tonight. I think you should come. It will be fun." I checked the time on my phone. It was 11 p.m. already. Trinka said, "The storm has stopped too. This is my house address. See you at 12 a.m. sharp." I heard the sound of her doorbell, and she disconnected the video call abruptly. For a minute, I couldn't believe what just happened. Did I really get an invitation to a party from a beautiful girl whom I just met online? It got me anxious, thinking should I go or not, but in the end, my rational senses gave up. After all, it was a party and I was looking to socialize, so I got up and went to the washroom. I was keeping my expectations low, hence I wore a simple t-shirt and a pair of jeans. I copied the address on my phone. It was Subscribe Street, IMR Lane, house number 2021. Trinka was right. It took me 12 minutes to reach there by car. The house was in complete darkness. At first, it felt like no one lived there. I walked to the main door and rang the doorbell. It made the exact same sound I heard during the video call. I was feeling really stupid at that time. Suddenly, the door opened and I saw Trinka. She smiled at me and said, "Hi, David. Welcome to my den." I entered the house. The living room was filled with candles. The entire decor of the house was almost like Halloween. I already saw Trinka being interested in Gothic styles and decor. Trinka was wearing a black cloak. There were 5 to 7 people inside the house. They were sitting in a circle. A girl came to me and handed me a black robe. I asked Trinka, "What kind of party is this?" She replied, "We are going to call him." I said in a low voice, "Who?" Trinka replied, "You ask so many questions. Keep quiet and join us." I sat down inside the circle. I counted and realized after including me and Trinka, it was a circle of 9 people. Suddenly, a guy lifted his arm. He was holding a sharp pointing knife in his hand. Trinka got up and left the room. I was trying to figure out what the hell is going on here when I heard a weird sound. A childlike baby was crying in the house. Trinka came out holding a newborn baby in her hand. The entire group got up and raised their arms into the air. They all started to chant something in a whispering manner. It took me time to realize they were doing a cult ritual. Trinka placed the baby in the center of the circle. The guy then got up and went on to stab the baby. I screamed, saying, "What are you doing? Are you all out of your mind?" They all started to laugh like maniacs. I knew I had stepped into trouble right at that moment. I was thinking to snatch the baby and run away, but they were surrounding me like hellhounds. They all stopped laughing, and Trinka came right in front of me. She said in a scary voice, "Do you want power, David? Aman is going to show us life after death. You completed our circle, David. Now, all you have to do is sacrifice this baby to make our final offering to Aman. Come, praise him with us." I took a few steps back and said, "You all are sick. If I knew this was your intention, I would not have come here, Trinka." I was thinking at the back of my mind about how to escape this cult group when I heard a cop siren outside. I realized the cops might have figured out the location of this missing baby and have come to catch these culprits. Without thinking much, I ran to the back door, and as soon as I came out, I locked the door from the outside. I saw a big shovel lying at the back door. I used it to block the door from the outside so none of them can come out. I wanted to take the baby with me, but I didn't have time for this. The cops broke the main door and busted in. I ran away and hid behind a bush at some distance from the house. The cops caught the entire gang. I saw Trinka screaming at them, "We had another member. He ran away. Go catch him. His name was David." But the cops didn't listen to her. I came home like a criminal. I didn't go out for a month. I saw their group on the news. They stole the baby from a local hospital. They have been sentenced to prison, and I am still scared thinking about what would have happened if I didn't run away that day. I'm just glad the newborn has been returned to its family. It scares me how Trinka tried to frame me that day. I am glad I didn't use my real name while chatting in Omegle.